Hi, it's Lori from Coast to Coast Craft Girls coming to you from the West Coast. Today I wanted to share, this is the card that I made in the craft off with Gaz from Handcrafted by Gaz. And I got a couple of requests to do a tutorial on it, so that's what I'm going to do. It's a twisted easel card that stands up like that. It's got like a fan look to it with some florals, and then you open it up and you've got the sentiment on the inside. And it does not fold flat. You would need an envelope box or something, or hand deliver that. But it is a very beautiful card. And let me show you how it's made. It's actually fairly quick to go together. So we're going to start with a 6x6 card base. And to make our twisted easel, you want to decide which way you want it to twist. And I want mine to twist this way. So I want to score from this corner to this corner. So that's, if you draw a line on your scoreboard, it's very easy to do. So just line it up. And then we're going to score from that corner down, down to that corner. Okay. And that gives you your twisted easel. Super simple. Okay. Now I've got a matte layer to go on the inside. This is a 6x6 card blank, so my matte, this layer is 5 3/4, and the next one's 5 1/2, and then we're just going to put that right on there. Now I want to matte layer these triangles. So the easiest way to do that is to take your matte layers, the same 5 3/4 and 5 1/2, and we're just going to cut them corner to corner. So let me use my paper trimmer. It's the easiest. And we're just going to cut our 5 3/4 inch square corner to corner. And that gives me my two triangles. And then we're going to cut our 5 1/2 inch layer. And you can see I already put glue on this by mistake, not realizing I wanted to cut it before I glued it. Then we'll glue these together. This top paper is from the Crafter's Companion Rose Garden collection. And the this paper is a rose gold shimmer card. It's a fairly lightweight 65-pound rose gold shimmer card that I got at Michael's. It was on a clearance sale, and then I had some coupons, so it was super cheap. And it's a really nice double-sided shimmer card. That rose gold goes really well with the Sarah Signature Rose Garden paper. And now that should give me two perfect matte layers to go on my triangles. And as you can see, they fit perfectly. So let's go ahead and matte those up. Now that's effectively your twisted easel card base. So now it's just about the decorations and the stopper. So let's set that one to one side. Now I'm going to make my fan. I've already done half of it, but I saved one half to show you how to do it. So I'm using a good old-fashioned Fisker's edge punch. You could, and I used the edge punch because in our challenge with Gaz we needed to use something old, and this is definitely old. I had to brush the dust off because it's been sitting around so long. But it works well for this. You could use an edgeable die, and that's kind of what I probably would use if I hadn't had the something old requirement. But if you've never used an edge punch, you just do one and then slide it along. And the Fisker's ones, you can see it's got like the little pattern on each side, so you can match up the pattern so you know that you're getting it perfectly aligned. I know Crafter's Companion, the punches, also do border punch, I think. So if you have those, you could use those. And it gives you almost, so this was an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and I just cut it right down the middle. So it's 5.5 by 8.5, and I got 2 of them. And we're just gonna, so I cut that edge with my edge punch. I'm gonna bring my scoreboard in, and I want to score every 1/2 inch. Okay, now that I've got that scored, so 5.5, 8.5, did my edge border. You can actually leave that straight if you want, but I kind of liked the looks of the pretty edge. And then you're just going to fold these accordion style. So back and forth. Once you get them all folded up, and you got 2 of them, you're going to want to glue them together. So pick a side to put together. Put these 2 sides together. And we're going to go ahead and put some glue on there and glue those edges together, because I want these all as one big long. So if you think about that, that's 17 inches, because 8.5 times 2. So if you used 12 by 12 paper, I guess you could, I mean, if you wanted it fuller, you could use 12 by 12, 2 sheets or 2 pieces of 12-inch, or you could cut it the other way if you wanted it. But I think this actually works pretty well, and it doesn't use so much paper. Now you're going to glue the bottom just together to make a fan. Now, the way I did it is I just put a little bit of tacky glue on the bottom of each side. Flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. And you're going to hot glue this on, and there's, probably other ways. You could use hot glue to glue it together if you wanted to, but this seemed to work. And then gather it all up, get that edge together, kind of wipe the glue down in there, and then I just used a clip. Let me see if I can get on there, just to hold it together while that glue sets. And I'm just going to leave that set for a while we decorate our florals. Okay, so then for the flowers, on this one I used 2 different ones, and this is the Floral Bouquet die and embossing folder, and I've already cut one out. And I cut this out of a white shimmer card, that same 65-pound shimmer card, but in white. And I'm going to run that through my embossing folder. And the way you do these is after you cut it, you can see through, so you can line it up perfectly, and you just get it all lined up in there so that it's perfectly aligned. Close it up and run it through and check and see. Yeah. And you get that nice embossed perfectly. I did a second one with a similar die. This is actually a Stamps by Me set, but it's essentially the same idea, same thing. Now, to do mine, as you can see, that's not exact. I cut this flower off because that's what I used down here. So I'm going to just trim that off. And it comes off easily because it's not attached with very much. And then I also had to trim this leaf off because it was hanging over the edge too much. But you can decide if you want it or not. So that gives me two floral pieces. So that gives me, this is that one, and this is that one. And then I put this behind, and this is a, you could use another one of these. You could, you know, cut one more and use these two up there, if you want. I just kind of liked the looks of two different flowers. And this is a Stamps by Me Freesia die that's essentially similar. Now what I did to color these is, on this one I used opaque pigment inks, and I used the ocean blue because I had blue. But for this one, I thought this color looked good with the blush Midas metallic pigment, and we're going to try that and see what that looks like. So you're just going to touch. You don't want too much color on it, so just kind of softly swirl over that flower. Catch the highlights. And then we're going to do the same thing on the bud. And on this floral. And you just want to touch very softly because you don't want a huge squidge of color. And I like that. I need to smooth that out. Okay. And that's really all the color you need on those. Then on this one, it doesn't have, it's not as deep of an emboss. It's more of a 2D folder. So on this one, I found that the pens, that the alcohol inks pens worked better. And I was trying to decide which color, so we're gonna try the, oh yeah, that works. So this is the Pink Lace AP1, and all I did was I just start at the inside of each petal and just flick up towards the outside, and it just gives it a hint of color. And there's little lines in there so you can follow. And you could use the pens on that one too if you wanted, or try to use the ink on this one, but I kind of liked I found that for this particular emboss, the pens worked better. For that one, the ink worked better. So just whatever you have or whatever you prefer. Then I used Willow DG1 just on the leaves to give me a little bit of color on the leaves. Now let's put it together. So the other thing that I need to do is I need to make, if you can see, the fan is kind of sitting in almost like a little triangular box. And then I need the stopper, which is a triangle that's raised up on foam. So I cut another 2 squares, and this was a 5.5 inch square. And then I just cut corner to corner, just like I did on the matlers. And then this was a 5.25 inch, cuts corner to corner. And I'm going to use one of these for the stopper. So let's go ahead and glue that up, and we'll put that on foam tape and put it inside for the stopper in a minute. Okay, so we'll set that to one side. We'll set this to one side for now. Now I'm going to cut, so I've got my 5.5 inch square cut corner to corner. I'm bring my scoreboard in, and I'm going to score at 1/2 inch and 1 inch on the 2 straight sides. So it's kind of like making a box, except you only got, half of it. And then we're going to fold and burnish these both directions. And then we got to cut that corner. So we're going to cut a little angle out of there. Then we're going to cut this up to there. Okay, so it goes like that. Then we got to cut this part off. So it's kind of like making a box. And then that'll fold in, and that'll go under, and then these fold down. And you've got your little triangular box. Now, I don't like that those things stick up. So what I did is I took from this corner and I just kind of trimmed them down. And then they won't show. So let's glue that together. So first we're going to take our little tab here and glue that underneath there to make our nice flush 90-degree corner, just like box making. And then I'm going to take this corner and we're just going to put a little bit of glue there and glue that down, kind of hold it together. Let's hold that for the glue to grab. Okay, now we want to mat this with this paper. Obviously that's not going to fit. So the easiest way to do it is just kind of hold it in the corner where you want it. Take a pencil and mark at each end, and then you can just cut from pencil mark to pencil mark. And that gives you that perfect matte layer there. Okay, now let's bring our card in. While that's heating up, I'm going to go ahead and put in my stopper. So this is going to go on this corner because that goes up there. So I'll get some foam tape. And make sure you put it in the right corner. So it's going to go in here, and you just want to put it so you can see a little bit of that layer, so it just looks like another matte layer. That gives you your easel. Then I'm going to go ahead and put on my some foliage. and my flower. Okay, now take your clip off, and hopefully your fan is all glued together, and just hold that in and try to kind of spread it out a little bit so that you get nice good coverage. And then we're going to glue it in. You decide which side you want up. Shouldn't really matter. They're both the same. And we're just going to glue it inside of there. So the easiest way to do it is turn it over and put a bunch of glue right in the bottom, and then slide your fan into it. And then I put some more glue on the top just to kind of hold it. And then I used hot glue just because I had my hot glue gun out on there. And we're going to put this right in this corner. Straighten it up. It's going to go right there. Just hold it till that, give that glue a second to dry. And then we're going to put our florals on. And I put this one in the back because I'm going to mostly cover the main flower, the big flower with this piece. So and we are done. On this one, I used some vellum, and I just cut a triangle of vellum in the same way that I cut these triangles, and then I stamped with some Stays-On ink. I'm not going to do a sentiment on this one, but there we go. All done. A little bit different look with the different colors, but love how it turned out. Hope you enjoyed that.